It's time to get rid of non-dom status altogether. Let us ask Jonathan Davis, economist and wealth manager. The word wealth makes me think that he might be well acquainted with the non-dom rule. Let's ask him. Hello, Jonathan. Good morning.
Good morning, Vanessa.
So for once, I'm not asking you, is the end of the world nigh? Are we all about to go to hell in a handcart? For once, we don't have to have that conversation, which is a great relief. Instead, I'm asking you very specific sort of economist and wealth manager type questions. So first of all, would you be so kind as to explain better than I've managed to do what non-dom status and the non-dom rule really is?
If you were born outside of the UK or your father, specifically father, is non-UK, then even if you live in the UK, you can elect to be non-domicile, which means you reside here, but your assets and income outside of the UK are not taxed unless you bring them back into the UK.
Right. So if your father was born elsewhere, you elect to have non-dom status, you live here and you work here, you have to pay tax just like everybody else on what you earn here. It's just if you have money and businesses and something property in another country, you don't pay tax on the profit from those. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, so for some immensely wealthy foreigners, this is a huge advantage, is it?
Well, it is. Although you do now, under the new rules brought in by the current government, you do have to pay up to £90,000 a year to live here if you've lived here for more than 17 years.
Yeah.
If you're a billionaire, and that's essentially what we're talking about here, we're not talking about wealthy bankers.
Yep.
We're talking about billionaires, Russian oligarchs, Chinese, Greeks, Middle East sheikhs who come here. They have vast Croatian wealth, which is untaxed in the UK. And although you may have to pay up to £90,000 a year, believe me, it's a very small amount of money to these people to have all the massive tax and cultural and security benefits of being in London.
However, any money that they bring over here, they have to pay tax on.
Well, if they bring money over, I don't think they actually have to pay tax on if they bring money in. It's the gains that they make on that money that they may have to pay tax on. Like, for instance, if they invest in a property. Right. If they don't live in that property, it's a buy-to-let. And if they make gains on it, then when they sell it, they'll tax it. So I don't think they're actually paying tax on the money they bring. They pay tax on the money that money makes.
Right. Explain. So the reason why this is such a great thing for incredibly wealthy foreigners is that you're saying they get all the kind of advantages of living in this country without having to pay tax in this country. How does it work the other way round? If somebody British goes to live in say the United States of America for 17 years, what happens with tax that way round?
Well, they will be taxed on their worldwide income and assets if they go into the US and live there. The UK is unique in the world that we have this non-domicile status thing. It's not heard of anywhere else. So think about these billionaires, going back to these guys. If they've got vast wealth and they're making vast gains and vast income outside of the UK, as everybody knows, in many countries, there is either low or no taxation.
Yes.
So, of course, living here, and they're effectively untaxed on all those gains, they'll never have to pay tax on those gains or those income. I mean, it's a fantastic deal that they get to live in London with the West End, with the security, with the liberal attitudes that we have here. They're protected, they're secure, and yet they don't have to pay a penny in tax, really. And also, all of their assets and all of their wealth is hidden from view. No one gets to know how much they're worth. It's a fantastic deal.
Yes, they don't have to declare what they have or what they're worth.
Tens of thousands. Tens of thousands of them.
Well, 116,000 of them. So I suppose one of the reasons for creating this rule and for inviting them here in the first place is that we think that they are generators of wealth, that, you know, when they live here, because they're billionaires, they live high on the hog. They don't live here in a small tenement in the back street of Kentish Town. They live somewhere terribly expensive. They employ all sorts of people. They spend a great deal of money. They drive cars. They wear elaborate clothing. They buy jewellery. They eat in our restaurants. As you say, they enjoy the West End and the theatres. They use our doctors. They spend a great deal of money, and they buy properties, they sell them, and as you say, if they do that here, they have to pay capital gains if it's not their principal residence. So we do want them here, don't we? We don't want them all to phone their accountants today or to give you a call, Jonathan Davis, economist and wealth manager, and say, what's going to happen to me if Labour get elected? And you say, oh, well, you're going to have to start paying proper tax on everything you own and everything you earn here in the UK. And they go, well, OK, let me just get the butler to pack up. Let's get the private jet and let's get the hell out. We don't want them to do that, do we?
Well, that is, of course, one way of looking at it. The fact is, we in London are paying to effectively protect mafia bosses, drug runners, totalitarian despots from all around the world, and they're effectively hiding their assets and living life of Riley and freedom in London. I'm not convinced that it's a good deal for the British.
I mean, you're making an equation between extreme wealth and criminality, and I don't know whether that's strictly accurate or strictly fair. Well, some people are skilled entrepreneurs and businessmen and women, aren't they? They're not all criminals, are they?
We're not talking about the merely very wealthy. We're talking about the ultra rich. And you tell me how the ultra-rich get their money.
So you're saying you'd be happy if, on the day of the election or the day we get the results, May the 8th, it turns out to be a Labour victory and they all, to a man and woman, get up and leave. You'll be happy about that?
Well, no, I wouldn't be happy with that. I also don't think that's what's going to happen because some of the law-abiding ones will make a decision. Do they want to pay a lot of tax? Do they want all their assets and income made transparent for the world to see? If they decide they do, then they'll stay and they'll go with it. But yes, the despots, the mafia, the drug runners, I'm pretty sure they will not want their assets and income known to the world and the world's authorities.
Don't you think the Labour Party are going to have a heck of a job getting people who haven't revealed what their overseas assets are for all these years because they haven't been made to do so, getting them to tell the truth about what they've got and where it is? Don't they have enough trouble trying to get people over here to pay taxes when they're on PAYE, let alone trying to track down what properties and businesses and investments on the Cayman Islands, God knows who has got God knows where?
Yes, that's another reason why I don't think it's actually going to happen.
You never said that. You don't think it's going to happen? Why not?
Yeah, because it's going to be so complex, so difficult to ascertain, and of course it's going to rely on people actually saying, fessing up to what they have and what they earn. Otherwise, we're going to have armies of tax agents around the world. It is in a sense happening from the United States. Since a couple of years ago, they've had what's called the FATCA, F-A-T-C-A rules, where all US citizens around the world have to declare their income and assets and pay taxes to the US wherever they are. So,
well, what would you say if I said I happen to know about that because my daughter the elder, is an international FATCA expert? So it's one of the few things I actually know about. Isn't that extraordinary? It's the first and only time it's ever been mentioned on the programme. I'm just about to text her to tell her that. Isn't that amazing? But anyway, I do know a bit. I do know a bit about that. Hey, what about that? So
get her on. She'd be an excellent expert.
I should, shouldn't I? So the United States have tried to do what Labour are now saying that they're going to do.
In a sense, whether or not the US is actually achieving it in totality is unlikely, but certainly they're bringing in taxes and they're knowing more about their citizens around the world, and perhaps this is yet another ruse by, it happens to be Labour saying it this time, but it could be just generally this is where where I put on my tinfoil hat. It could be another ruse by politicians just wanting to know more about people around the world. Who knows? I don't know, but I don't actually think this is going to come in as boldly as it's stated, because, as I say, one, it would require armies of tax agents around the world, and B, it would also require people to actually confess to what the score is. And let's face it, if they're in the mafia, they're not going to do that.
And final question, do you think this is a vote winner? Does this sound to you like the sort of thing that people will like to hear, even if it is completely impractical, can't possibly happen, and you know, the money will never really pour anywhere near the Exchequer? Do you think it's a belting one and people will like it?
It's a headline. It is a vote winner. Why? Because obviously we're talking about not even the top 1%. We're talking about the top 0.1% perhaps. And of course, therefore, it's anyone who's voting. It doesn't affect me, so I'll vote for it. Sounds a good idea. It's going to affect someone else. So, yes, I think this will be a vote winner, and it will entice some people who are undecided to vote for Labour.
Thank you, Jonathan, very much. Jonathan Davis there, economist and wealth manager. So let me